Hello, good evening and welcome to Joy News Prime. From our studios here at Koko in Accra, we are live on DSTV channel 421, GoTV 125 and around the world on myjoyonline.com. I am Carlos Keloni. In our headline, 8-year-old boy drowns in an abandoned manhole in Budumburam. His brother battling for his life in hospital. And Ghana bid farewell to its longest-serving former First Lady, Konadu Agyeman-Rawlings, after a solemn state funeral. And the Kumasi High Court rules Akosia Sewa and Priscilla Fori are surviving wives of the late high life legend Charles Kojo Fosu, popularly known as Daddy Lumba. Well, let's begin on a rather sad note because an 8-year-old boy has died after drowning in an abandoned manhole at Blue Rose Estate in Budumburam, located in the Gumua East District of the Central Region. The deceased, Elijah Success Kaba, and his 15-year-old cousin, who is now in critical condition, fell into the manhole allegedly while drawing water from it. Personnel from the Ghana National Fire Service responded swiftly to the incident, rescuing both victims and rushing them to St. Gregory Catholic Hospital. Unfortunately, Elijah died while receiving treatment. Well, let's get some perspective on this sad development. And joining us is DO2 Abdul Hudu Wasiu, is the PRO of the Central Regional Ghana Fire Service. Thank you so much for your time. Beyond being told that the two children actually went there to draw water, what do your preliminary findings actually indicate about this sad happening?
Thank you very much. We were called around 7:40 this morning, reporting this particular distress, and we dispatched our rescue team from Budumburam Fire Station to respond quickly to the incident. So upon arriving at the scene, they observed that one victim, who was around 16 years, had already been rescued by the people around there. So our rescue team initiated their rescue operation. So they went inside to search for the other body when we were informed that another person was also in the water. So with the help of the community members, we were able to rescue the 80-year-old boy out. But what we found out was that the 8-year-old boy went there with his elder brother, who is a 16-year-old, to fetch water, which I learned was routine in that particular community because of the water problem they are facing. They do that early morning in order to be able to prepare for school. So the 8-year-old boy fell in the water, and the elder brother, who is a 16-year-old boy, tried to rescue him. So in that attempt, he also fell inside the water, and they were all rescued.
That's really sad. And
yes. So what happened was that the one we rescued, we tried to resuscitate the person because when we found out there was some life in the body. So we tried our best and rushed the person to the hospital during the resuscitation process. So we got to the hospital and handed over to the medical team. So it was later we went to find out how the boy was doing, and we had the information that he had passed away during the treatment process.
So we want to get clarity. You're telling us this evening that the 16-year-old has also died?
Yes.
So,
no, it was the one we rescued. The 8-year-old boy who passed away, but the 16-year-old boy was alive.
Did you go there
before we got there?
Right. Did you go there with a medical team?
Yes, fire service, we have our paramedics. So when we effect rescue, we first try to give first aid before we get to the incident scene or we get to the hospital.
Right. Thank you so much for those updates from your office. Now to another sad one. Today, Ghana bid farewell to its longest-serving First Lady, Nana Konadu Agyeman-Rawlings. Dignitaries including former and current heads of state, government officials, traditional rulers, and hundreds of well-wishers gathered at the Black Star Square to pay their final respect. Now, the former First Lady was eulogized for her commitment to women's empowerment and shaping of national development. My colleague Fatal Bayaga reports.
It was a solemn atmosphere as hundreds of mourners gathered at the Independence Square to pay their last respects to Ghana's longest-serving First Lady, Nana Konadu Agyeman-Rawlings. The somber ceremony brought together dignitaries, including President John Dramani Mahama, his vice, Professor Jane Nana Opoku Agyeman, as well as former and current heads of state, government officials, traditional rulers, and well-wishers. They all eulogized the stateswoman for her remarkable advocacy in championing women's empowerment across the country. The president, through a tribute read on his behalf by Joyce Bao Muktari, said her passing marks the end of an important chapter in Ghana's political and social history.
Nana Konadu was far more than a former First Lady. She was a pioneering leader, an unwavering champion of women's empowerment, a trailblazer in our political landscape, and a deeply committed patriot.
The National Democratic Congress says the former First Lady was a foundational pillar during the party's formative years. Fifi Fiavi-Kote is General Secretary.
Above all, Nana Konadu Agyeman-Rawlings was a foundational pillar of both the PNDC and the NDC. She did not operate from the background. She was at the very center, organizing women, building structures, shaping strategy, strengthening grassroots, and helping give birth to a party that was not just political, but deeply connected to the people.
For her children, their mother's passing is a huge blow to the family, as they say they have lost a true role model.
Your joie de vivre was found in the simple things: the embrace of family, good music, and dance. Mom, queen of our hearts, your legacy lives on through the lessons you taught us, the love you shared, and the example you set.
Members of the 31st December Women's Movement say the contribution of their founder was immense and deserving of celebration.
Our present Vice President, she came from 31st. I am confidently saying that she's part of 31st. So look at that. Hasn't she done well? She's done well for Ghana. So to me, this is a legacy she's left, and Ghanaians will cherish her forever.
Nana Konadu Agyeman-Rawlings leaves behind a legacy defined by courage, conviction, and an unwavering commitment to the advancement of women and children. Her impact remains deeply etched in Ghana's history, and her memory will continue to inspire generations to come. For Joy News, Fatal Bayaga, Accra.
Well, sincere condolences to the bereaved family. Now, moving on, Kumasi High Court has declared Akosia Sewa and Priscilla Ofori, popularly known as Odobroni, as the two surviving wives of the late High Life legend Daddy Lumba. The ruling dismissed Akosia Sewa's bid to be recognized as the sole wife after the court found she failed to provide original documents to support a claim. On Himin Tewiye has more from Kumasi.
Presiding Judge, Her Ladyship Justice Dorinda Smith Arthur, said exhibit fell short of sections 136 and 161, which required the plaintiff file the original marriage certificate from the Bornheim Marriage Registry and the subsequent certification by the Ghana Embassy in Germany. But the court ruled what the plaintiff presented as evidence was an extract. The Evidence Act also put the burden on the plaintiff to present a recognized German civil marriage expert as witness in court, something the plaintiff failed to do. She explained the proof of civil marriage in Germany could not have been done by conduct nor proof of photos, especially in the era of Photoshop. However, the court did not find evidence of the dissolution of the customary marriage between Akosua Sewa and Daddy Lumba as claimed by the first defendant, Ebusuapanyin Kofi Owusu, in his witness statement and evidence in chief. The court found it surprising that a sister of Daddy Lumba, the second witness for the plaintiff, would testify in court that she did not recognize the second defendant, Odobroni, who named her third child after her. The court was of the view that despite Ernestina Fosu, also known as Akosua Brempoma, being given full recognition on tape and describing the second defendant as a sweet and loving sister-in-law, she still did not recognize her. The court was, however, convinced the late musician married the second defendant since it found the evidence of the witness, Odobroni, and James Bediakon, who attended the marriage ceremony, as consistent, reliable, and coherent. The court ruled that Akosua Sewa was married to the late Daddy Lumba in 1991, the same way Priscilla Ofori was married to the late musician in 2010. The court gave a consequential order to Ebusuapanyin Kofi Owusu to recognize Odobroni to perform widowhood rites. No impediments were put in the way of Ebusuapanyin to have access to the body of Daddy Lumba to organize the funeral. William Kusi, the counsel for Akosua Sewa, said he needs time to study the ruling before taking a decision to appeal.
Are you going to appeal against this decision?
The court has spoken. And we are supposed to abide by the court's judgment, even though my team disagree with the decision of the court. So we'll go and sit down and review if it's appealable or appeal.
But lawyer for Odobroni, Alex Osei Owusu, welcomed the ruling of the court as he commended the judge for the 74-page judgment.
Today's ruling more or less closes a very bitter chapter for our client, Priscilla Ofori. This is a woman who has been lawfully married under customary law to Daddy Lumba, having lived with him for the past 17 years, born as many as 6 children, and Daddy Lumba is no more. She has the responsibility of raising 6 children alone as a woman. So the death of Daddy Lumba has been very devastating to our client, and it was worse, much more distressful when attempts were made to restrain her or prevent her from being recognized as the lawfully married wife to the late Daddy Lumba, and also to prevent her from performing their customary rites in honor of her husband. And thank God that did not happen. Today, by the judgment of the court, she is lawfully and legally married under customary law and is to be recognized as a surviving spouse of the late Daddy Lumba, and for which reason we are happy. I must say, not only for the presiding judge, but also the cooperation of counsel, Lawyer Kusi, Lawyer Jay, and ourselves, Lawyer Osei from Baba Jamal & Co. Now, and Fatih, the judge has been more than tremendous.
Meanwhile, the presiding judge has called for calm, adding there is no need for jubilation or to hurt anybody since judgment is supposed to resolve disputes. Ohim Interiors reports for Joy News.
Away from the 2 suspects seen in a viral video physically assaulting 2 young women at the Rampong in the central region have been arrested. According to a police brief, the arrests were carried out by the IGP's Special Cyber Vetting and Enforcement Team, with 3 suspects identified as those who used a sharp razor to cut through the victims' scarves. one key suspect is still on the run, while 7 others were picked up for aiding and abetting the attack. Meanwhile, in a related development, the IGP Special Cyber Vetting and Enforcement Team arrested a female suspect who was seen in a video assaulting a male victim. The suspect was arrested at Subreso in the Ahafwano North constituency of the Ashanti region. A second suspect was also arrested in Nkawie in the Ashanti region for his involvement in the incident. Both suspects are in custody, while efforts are ongoing to arrest 3 other suspects currently on the run. Well, away from the residents of Bethany in the Kintampo North are cut off by a massive gully created by torrential rains, destroying major roads. Bono East Regional Correspondent Anna Sabit reports on the community's urgent plea for help.
What happens when the very ground beneath your feet is literally washed away? In the suburb of Bethany in the Kintampo North municipality, this isn't a hypothetical question. It is a daily and dangerous reality. A section of their road has been transformed into a menacing gully by torrential rains, leaving residents trapped in a state of fear and pleading for help. This ever-widening chasm has split the neighborhood into 2, turning simple daily routines into perilous journeys. Habiba Mohammed is a resident here.
A
few weeks ago, a grader was brought in to help shape this road, but after heavy rains, the route was washed away, affecting our homes and the movement of our children to school and where we used to our homes when we are returning from the markets. For parents like Habiba, every dark cloud is a threat. The combination of a potential electrocution hazard and the raw, destructive power of the storm water has turned this community into a ticking time bomb. We are always afraid whenever it rains because you see where the pool is. It is almost falling off, and so when it rains, we are unable to sleep until the rains stop. Sometimes we have to put off our meters because we don't know what is likely going to happen. Another resident here, Comfort Audi, shares the struggles they go through in their quest to fetch water on a daily basis and what children go through on their way to school. Because of this situation, we are unable to cross to go and fetch water, and our children can't cross to school either. And when you are away from home and it is raining, you remain worried because of the safety of our children. The plea from Bethany is clear now. They have run out of options. Now they wait and hope that their cries for help will be heard before this ravine claims more than just their road and their livelihoods, but a human life. We are appealing to government and our leaders here in Kintampo to come to our aid. We are looking up to those in authority to get the MC, the MP, and the President informed about our plight and that we need their help. Their community has been split, and only a permanent solution can make it whole again. Anna Sabit, Joy News, Bethany.
Now, the outgoing national chairman of the Nurses and Midwife Educators Society says producing more diploma and certificate nurses is not enough to meet the country's healthcare needs. He calls for specialized training programs to equip nurses and midwives to handle complex medical challenges. Rafiq Salam reports from WA.
The Quadrennial National Congress of the Nurse and Midwife Educators Society was held on the theme Research and Innovative Mentorship in Tertiary Education, the role of faculty in health training institutions. National Chairman of the Nurse and Midwife Educators Society, Matthew Adamu Bakinam, averred that the mass production of diploma and certificate nurses and midwives are counterproductive, calling for a paradigm shift, refocusing the training to prioritizing specialization on courses that are relevant.
How comfortable are we when a nurse is attending to us? If we are not fully comfortable, then we must rethink and innovative in health training by prioritizing specialization and quality assurance rather than the mass production of diploma and certificates program or certificate nurses.
The Delegates Conference serves as a swan song of Matthew Ademo Buckingham and used the opportunity to raise earlier concerns by the society, urging the government to address them quickly.
The agent need to convert all the health ATIs into fully tertiary according to international status. We have to get the full, but schools must be migrated to full tertiary status.
Health Minister Kwabena Menta Akando, in a speech read on his behalf by Deputy Director, Health Training Institutions at the Ministry of Health, Rebecca Akole, stated that government was aware of the need for higher education at the various nursing colleges.
To bridge the gap in critical care service delivery, the government is beginning with specialization programs from readily selected colleges, including emergency, critical care, cardiology, nephrology, and oncology nursing.
Reporting for Day News, Rafik Salam. Wow.
Well, the fight against opioid abuse is taking a worrying turn. Patients in severe pain are being denied the very drugs meant to ease their suffering. At Konadu Teaching Hospital, anesthesiologists say fear of addiction is leading to dangerously low doses, leaving post-surgery patients in agony and at risk of complications like hypertension. Emmanuel Bright-Kweku reports.
Opioids are a class of drugs used primarily for pain relief, but they have rather become a menace to the mental health and well-being of the populace as people continue to abuse and become addicted to the drugs. These growing concerns are informing stricter control and access to the drugs. However, some health professionals are worried over what they say is denial of effective opioids to patients under intense pain, especially after surgical operations. The health officers attribute the underdosage of the opioids to fears of addiction and abuse by patients. General Secretary of the Ghana Anesthesiologists Society, Dr. Moses Siao, addressed at a one-day workshop on opioid usage organized by the Konadu Teaching Hospital.
Because of the fear of addiction and fear of abuse, people don't want to prescribe opioids. When they have even prescribed, is underdosed. Then you also have instances where they are prescribed correct doses, actually prescribed, but not administered.
He highlighted the health implications opioid underdosage could have on patients in excruciating pains.
Inadequate pain management leads to a lot of complications, causing hypertension, heart failure, respiratory issues. Okay, patients are unable to breathe well because of pain, agitation, psychological stress and trauma, prolonged hospital stay. So poorly managed pain has adverse effects on not just the patients, but the hospital resources.
Following a recent survey at the hospital, management have realized easy accessibility, lack of secure designated storage areas in the wards, and the absence of protocols and clear policy on the usage and management of opioids remain a challenge. But what are the legal implications of professionals abusing opioids? Nathaniel Nkrumah is the Ashanti Regional Head of the Food and Drugs Authority.
Also, the need for the hospitals to have more like an internal maybe unit which will be monitoring the use of these opioids internally for them.
For Joy News, my name is Emmanuel Bright-Kweku.
Well, Ghana spends about $300 million annually on chicken imports. However, President Mahama's administration is determined to change this trend with the construction of a poultry processing plant which will be replicated across the country. Presidential Affairs correspondent Maxwell Agbagba has more.
The Vegetable Development Project is part of the government's broader strategy to strengthen the agriculture sector and reduce import bills. The project will feature solar-powered irrigation covering multiple hectares across selected communities, facilities for sorting, grading and packaging vegetables, training farmers in best practices for cultivation and post-harvest handling. According to President Mahama, it will reduce Ghana's dependence on imported vegetables, support farmers by providing training, inputs and technology to improve yields, and also generate employment in farming, processing and distribution.
Additionally, a modern pack house will be constructed to handle the grading, the sorting, packaging and cold chain management of all the vegetables that are produced. The entire project has been carefully designed to be completed within 12 months.
From Kukum, President Mahama then moved to Bichim to break ground for the construction of a meat and poultry processing factory. The president listed some of the features of the processing plant and its benefits. He says he has directed the school feeding program to only use local poultry and will soon launch the poultry and livestock project for senior high schools.
These interventions will form a complete national poultry ecosystem, restoring Ghana's leadership in poultry production in the whole of West Africa. I've directed the school feeding program to procure locally produced poultry for feeding our children in school. This will constitute a significant market for our local poultry industry.
Well, you're still watching Joy News Prime with me, Carlos Calone. We have more after this break. Please stay. Welcome back, and thank you so much for staying with us here on Joy News Prime. To some more stories, the trade of cocaine and other illicit drugs continue to threaten the peace and stability of Ghana and its West African neighbors. That's according to the Foreign Affairs Minister Samuel Okudzeto-Ablakwa, who today joined a high-level dialogue among the West African authorities organized by the government of Netherlands and the Global Initiative Against Transnational Organized Crime. Head of the Foreign Affairs Desk here at Joy News, Blessed Soga, has more.
And actors across the West Africa sub-region are committing to fight against drug trade, which has become a major concern for the West Africa sub-region. Foreign Affairs Minister Samuel Okudzeto-Ablakwa, while addressing an international conference held in Accra to draw strategic responses towards the menace, has been indicating the resolve of the government of Ghana, together with other stakeholders in the West Africa sub-region, to battle criminal money and the use of synthetic cocaine across the sub-region.
Colleagues, illicit drug trade continues to pose a multifaceted threat to West Africa's peace, security, public health, and socio-economic stability. In Ghana, as in many of our neighboring countries, we are grappling with the growing use of synthetic substances such as kush, as popularly called here, and the abuse of pharmaceutical products like codeine, which are being used to replicate the effects of traditional narcotics like cocaine and heroin. These developments present new dimensions of criminality, addiction, and social harm. The discussions held during this dialogue have clearly underscored the need for a comprehensive, multi-sectoral approach to drug control that integrates prevention, rehabilitation, education, law enforcement, and community engagement. At the regional level, Ghana reiterates its unwavering commitment to the implementation of the ECOWAS Plan of Action on Drug Control 2020 to 2030 and to the UNODC's strategic vision for Africa. We recognize that success in curbing drug markets depends on enhanced intelligence sharing, coordinated enforcement operations, and harmonized legal frameworks across member states.
But stakeholders at this conference are hopeful that the strategies that will be developed will go a long way in tackling the menace of all forms of criminal money and synthetic cocaine.
And certainly, no country can do this alone. The traffickers we pursue do not respect borders, and they do not care about jurisdiction. If we fight in silos, we will lose. If we coordinate, share intelligence, harmonize legal framework, and support each other, we will prevail.
Blessed Sugan reporting for Joy News, Accra.
Well, the minority in Parliament is demanding the immediate reversal of Speaker Alban Bagben's decision to refer their leader to the Privileges Committee, describing the decision as baseless. There's more in the following report.
The minority in Parliament are up in arms against Speaker of Parliament Alban Bagben, accusing him of cynical weaponization of the standing orders of Parliament in his referral of their leader to the Privileges Committee. The minority leader is accused of bringing the authority of Parliament into disrepute by presenting himself to the ECOWAS Parliament despite a resolution of the House removing him from the delegation. According to Deputy Minority Leader Patricia PJ, who addressed journalists in Parliament, the referral represents an attempt to politically persecute and crush the minority leader.
It's the culmination of a coordinated campaign of intimidation, harassment, and institutional abuse that began on 22nd July 2025, when I was ambushed without consultation or consent into an illegal plot to remove my leader from Ghana's delegation to the ECOWAS Parliament.
Patricia PJ insists the decision to remove Alexander Afenyo-Markin from the ECOWAS delegation is baseless and bogus.
I was neither consulted nor did I consent to this scheme. The moment I learnt of it, I acted decisively. On that very day, 22nd July 2025, I wrote to the Speaker, stating in the clearest possible terms, respectfully, I wish to place on record that I was neither consulted nor did I give my consent to be considered as a replacement for the minority leader.
The minority see the referral as an attempt to punish the minority leader for his actions at the vetting of the Chief Justice.
This petition came exactly one day after the minority leader led our side at the Appointments Committee to expose the NDC's government dishonorable attempt to secure parliamentary vetting for the then Chief Justice nominee, Paul Bafuboni. And this is retaliation.
Here are their demands.
The immediate withdrawal of the Privileges Committee's petition. It is gross abuse of process and an affront to justice. A public apology from the Speaker and majority leader, to ECOWAS and to the people of Ghana for the international embarrassment they caused.
Away from that, the Northern Regional leadership of the New Patriotic Party says the High Court cancellation of the Kpandai parliamentary election undermines the will of the people. The party's regional research and election officer, Dr. Fuseni Zakaria, insists residents voted in a transparent process and the result reflected their genuine choice. Martina Bugri reports.
The Kpandai parliamentary election has since Monday been the center of discussion following a Tamale High Court decision to annul the December 2024 parliamentary elections, citing irregularities. The court, presided over by Justice Emmanuel Bruplanch, ordered a rerun of the election within 30 days, affecting the seat currently held by Matthew Nindam of the New Patriotic Party. But addressing the media in Tamale, the Northern Regional Communications Director of the NPP, Yusuf Danjuma, said Matthew Nindam remains the MP for the area.
We state clearly, without ambiguity, Honorable Matthew Nindam remains the duly elected, sworn-in and sitting member of Parliament for the Kpandai constituency. This position has been publicly affirmed by the leadership of the party, the New Patriotic Party, confirmed by minority caucus in Parliament, led by Honorable Afenyo Makin, most importantly upheld by the Right Honorable Speaker of Parliament, who ruled only yesterday that it was premature to stop Honorable Matthew Windham from participating in the parliamentary process.
Well, ahead of tomorrow's National Sanitation Day, the Accra Metropolitan Assembly is joining forces with traders to clean up markets across the city. Now, let's get onto the line and speak to the Assembly's PRO, Gilbert Ni Ama. Grateful for your time. What are the plans towards tomorrow's exercise in the capital?
Thank you very much, Carlos, for the opportunity, and good evening to all your cherished listeners. Let me state that this exercise is currently part of measures to ensure that we keep the city clean. And just as you know, it is scheduled for every first Saturday of the new month. So as an assembly, we are gearing up towards the next sanitation day, which will be the first Saturday of the new month. That will be in December. So
Right.
we're looking at next week Saturday,
Okay.
not this very Saturday. Next week Saturday, we're looking at that particular day as they scheduled for the National Sanitation Day to embark on the usual cleanup exercise, ensuring that the markets within the assembly, looking at areas such as Agbogburushi. Mayor has said, Honorable Michael Kapalute, said clearly that with this very sanitation exercise as an assembly, we are looking at the focus areas are mostly within the market. So if you look at areas such as Agbogburushi, if you come into the central business district, you look at Mokola, look at the Katamanto area. Aside what we'll be doing with respect to the usual sweeping of our various roads to ensure that litters are cleared, we'll also do some detailed work as well.
Okay, but concerns have been raised by traders that you spend the whole day cleaning the market, which affect their businesses. So how do you respond to that, and what do you intend to do next when you have your sanitation day?
So as an assembly, let me state categorically that with respect to the waste is generated by me and you, myself and the trader, the market woman. We generate the waste ourselves. And as a city, we want to move away from let me say, generating the waste indiscriminately. For instance, you sit in the market and then you decide you want to even go and buy food, and you don't have your own bowl to go with. You pick whatever plastics or disposable they give you immediately after.
Mr. Ankra, the concern really from the the traders is not about how the waste is generated. It's about how the sanitation day takes the entire day, which affects their business. So that's what I want you to respond to.
Thank you very much. And if you would respectfully allow me, you would understand what I want to talk about. And it's basically about the fact that because of the increasing generation of waste and the fact that as traders and as people within the market, consistently we don't do the cleaning, it tends to pile up. And as a city, we cannot allow the waste to be there whilst trading activities are also ongoing. That is why we also want to urge the full participation of traders, because if we all come together to participate in the exercise, to go a long way to ensure that we finish the exercise on time, so that trading activities would also resume within the city. Of course, we appreciate the fact that there are some losses, but as a city, we need to ensure that the right thing is done. As traders as well, they need to come together to support or participate in the exercise so that together we'll be able to complete the work on time.
Thank you. Thank you so much for speaking to us here on Join This Prime. Now, the Republic Bank Love FM Habitat Fair continues to offer patrons exciting discount as the biggest house and fair entered day two. From an array of home accessories, mortgage banking, litigation-free land, roofing sheets, and building blocks. Exhibitors are offering exciting discount up to 20% during the 4-day fair. Emmanuel Bright Kweku has a wrap of the event.
Kumasi City Mall is buzzing with a lot of activities, and it is the Republic Bank Love FM Habitat Fair. It's an official opening, and we're having a lot of people come here to have anything they need for their home. We have an array of home accessories, talk of your roofing sheets, even your mortgage banking, and litigation-free land acquisition and documentation. This is where you need to be. So join me, let's interact with the exhibitors that are here for the 6th edition of the Republic Bank Love FM Habitat Fair.
We are bringing all our packages. Okay. So from the home purchase, buying a fresh home, to home completion, completing a house that you have already started. We are bringing on board our land mortgages for those who want to purchase lands just for an investment, for those who want to build on their lands and already purchased lands. We are bringing that also on board.
Even though the prices of the solar products have dropped so low and the dollar, of course, is favoring us these days, we still think that there should be a way to meet the customer halfway. If you don't have all the money to afford a full house installation, what do you do? So we approached Republic Bank, and by the grace of God, they agreed to partner with us. Now, what Republic Bank says is that they can pay for the full cost of installation and then spread it for you over 5 years.
Parbon is also willing to give you a very, very good offer. In fact, for this Habitat Fair, we are giving 20% discount on
20?
Yes, 20% discount on all our 3-bedroom houses.
We have the pavement blocks, we have the garden caps, we have the road caps, and we have both solid and hollow blocks in case you are putting on any superstructure when you come to an. For now, by default of being coming here, we give a 3% discount on anything that you purchase.
DBS as usual. Once you come to the Habitat Fair, you are enjoying a whooping 15% discount.
So basically, coming here is to help you acquire the right material at the right price and how to manage and sustain it, get the right advice.
From here at the City Mall in Kumasi, my name is Emmanuel Bright Kweku.
Well, interesting.
Yeah, do you love him?
So much. It's actually one of my favorites. I love him so much.
Yeah, so today we want to say thank you to him.
Yeah, great. Well, that's all we have time for here on Joy News Prime. You can log on to myjoyonline.com for more stories. Well, James Ishen is up next with Prime Business. Bye-bye.